In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a new Rainbow Loom bracelet called an open oval bracelet. So what you will need is 2 looms, and you want to have them connected end to end like this. And you also want to have it set up in a rectangular shape so that all the pins are in line with one another. And you're going to start with the arrows facing away from you. And then you want to choose your colors. I've chosen white for my border bands or perimeter bands. And for the ovals, I've chosen several different colors, and I have different shades of each of the colors because I want to have my bracelet fade from a lighter color to a darker color inside of each of the ovals. And we're going to start by placing the perimeter bands. So you're going to start on this center pin, and you want to take your color that you've chosen for the border. You're going to start in the center and place the band on the pin above. And then we're just going to do this entire top row of bands, just going to the very next pin over every time. And you always want to push down as you're putting it on, push that down to the bottom so you have room to add more when we get to the oval part. So I will fast forward here. Now when you get to the top of your loom, you're going to stop at the 3rd pin in from the end. So you're going to have 2 empty pins at the end of that row. And where you're going to place the next band is you're going to come back into the center row. And then you want to go back to the start. And once again, you're going to start in the center. And this time you're going to move to the other outside row. And then once again, you're just going to string this whole side, just going to the very next pin over. And then once again, you want to stop on the 3rd pin in from the end of your loom. So you should have 2 empty pins in that row. And you're going to place the last band in towards the center again. And then once again, you're going to go back to the start with the arrows facing towards you. And next we want to string our colors for the ovals. So to place our first band for the first oval, you want to find that center pin, and you want to count to the 5th pin up, and that is where your first band is going to go. And it's going to go diagonally up and to the right. And then the next band is going to come over to the right. And now we're going to move down to the pin below. We're working in a clockwise direction, but instead of just making this one pin the center, we're going to be spreading it out. So next I'm going to choose a darker color pink, and this is again going to come to the right. And then I'm going to move down to the pin below, and I'm still going to work with that color. It's going to come out. And then finally I'm going to move to the next pin down, and I'm going to do my lightest color, and that's going to come over to the right. And now I'm just going to work my way around in a clockwise direction using that pin as the center. I'm just going to come around here. And then finally I'm going to go over to the left. So it looks like a half of a pinwheel. And now I'm going to again work my way back up. So this one's going to come over to the left. I'm going to go to the pin above. And then finally I'm going to go to the pin above. Again, keep going in that clockwise direction. But now I'm not going to do anything right here, because if I put a band here, I wouldn't have anything to connect it to, because I'm not doing anything in the center row. Only the pins in the center are only going to be placeholders. So that's what it should look like. So if you picture the oval, it's going to, how we place the bands, it came down and around, and we came around the bottom, and then back up to the start. Only we didn't do a band in the center. And so now we want to place our cap band. So that's going to stretch over the length of these 4 center pins. So we're going to start down here. It's going to be tight. It's a long stretch to go over 4 pins. But when you take it off, that's what helps it keep its shape. So that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And then we want to move on to our next oval. So to find where you want to put your next band placement, if you go to that middle row and you find the top pin that is the center of this half of a pinwheel and where the end of the cap band is, you want to count up 6 spaces. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is where our next band placement is going to be. And I'm going to start with my darker orange, and this is going to go up and diagonally to the right. And I'm going to do the same pattern. I'm going to work my way around in a clockwise direction. I'm going to skip down to the next pin, and I'm also going to pick my lighter orange. That's going to go out, and then come down to the next pin. Again, this is just going to go out to the right, and then come down to the pin below. Now I'm going to do my lightest color, orange. That's going to come out to the right, and now I'm going to just work my way around in that clockwise direction. Now I'm not going to do anything here in the center because I don't want these to connect. So I'm going to skip the center pin and move over here, go diagonally to the left, and then one more pin over to the left. And then again, I'm going to jump up. I'm going to go with that darker orange. So it's just going to mirror what the other side looked like. And then again, I'm going to go to that darkest color. Now you could be choosing any color you want. You could do each oval a solid color. You could do alternate with 2 or 3 colors, or whatever you think would look nice. And then again, we're going to need to place our cap band, and it's going to go across all of these 4 center pins. So you're going to start down here at the bottom and stretch it all the way up. So it has to go over the 4. And then once again, we're going to start here at this pin, and we're going to count up 6 pins for our next placement. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again, I'm going to do the darkest first. I'm going to go up and diagonally to the right. And then again, going clockwise. And now I'm going to move down to the next pin and move to my next lighter color blue. And then again, I'm moving down to the next pin. And then once again, I'm moving down. Now I'm going to use my lightest blue. And I'm going to just go around. And now I'm not going to do anything in this center row right now. So just keep going around. And then I want to go up to the next pin above. And then again, I'm going to the pin above and just going out and to the left. And then finally to the pin above. I'm going to go out and to the left, and then up to that pin above. And now once again I have to place that center cap band, and it's going to stretch across these 4 pins. So I'm going to start at the bottom here and stretch it all the way up. And then once again I'm going to count 6 pins up from the top of this band. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to take you all the way up here, just 1 down from the end of your border. And we're going to again start with the darker color. I'm going to go up and diagonally to the right, and then just straight out to the right. And I'm going to move down to the pin below and put that next lighter color on. Again, move down to the pin below and just put it straight out. And then again, move to the pin below. Once again, it's going straight out. And then I'm just going to work my way around. And again, I'm skipping this center row. I'm not doing anything there. Just keep going around in this clockwise direction. And then out and to the left. And then just work my way back up. Just come straight out to the left. Go to the pin above and come straight out. And now this time we are going to put a band on the very end, so I'm just going to work my way around. And since the border band will hold this band in place, we want to add one in the center here. We've only done this for the very ends. We did it at the start and then again at the end. And now I also need to place a cap band on this. So it's going to be stretching across these 4 pins. And then what I want to do is turn the loom completely around. And now it's time to start hooking the bands. So this time we're going to be working in a counterclockwise direction. We're going to be starting with this band that's coming straight down towards you. And we're going to be just working our way around in the opposite direction as what we put them on. So what you're going to do is take your hook and use the back of your hook to pull back on this center band. And you want to grab this first band, as I said, that's facing towards you. So you want to grab that on your hook. You can use your finger to hold this cap band in place. Get this out and then pull it back down towards itself. And then once you've done that, that's the hardest one, to hold that in place. Now it should stay in place by itself. You're just going to work your way around, grabbing the band that's on the top and pulling it back towards where the other end of it is, pulling it back on itself. So I'm just going to work my way around in the counterclockwise direction. And as I said, it's much easier to do after you get that first band in place. So as you can see, this center cap band is going to get stretched out all the way towards the edge, which is what we want to happen. I'm just going to work my way back. And then here's the very last one. And so that is what it should look like. This center band should be stretched all the way around to the edges. That's what is your oval. And then we're just going to go up to the next section and do the same thing. Now, on this first one, we did the band that was straight down. But on the next ones in the center, we're not going to have a band that goes straight down because we skipped that band. So you're just going to go to the next band over in that counterclockwise direction. Use your hook to pull back on this center band and grab that top band and hold this cap band in place, and now pull this dark blue band back to the pin where the other end was, and now it should be easy to work your way around, just releasing these bands and pulling them back on the pin where the other end is. Now it's a little tight sometimes to get them loose because this center band is stretched really far, but it shouldn't be that difficult. And then just work your way back down the other side. And then back to the start. Pull this one down to the left. And now it should be all open again. It should look just like that. If it doesn't, you might have gotten your bands crossed somewhere along the way. And then we'll move up to the next one. Again, we're going to be starting with this band right here. So take your hook and pull back on that cap band. Grab this top colored band, and you can use your finger to hold this in place and get this released and pull it back on itself. And then just work your way around, working up one side and then coming back down the other. And then we're coming back down to the start. And there's one more here. And then we'll move up to the very last one. Again, you're pulling back on this center band and grabbing these top band and hold this in place, and then pull that out and put it back on the pin. And then from here it should be much easier to just work your way around. Sometimes these ones get a little bit loose because they're not pulled as tightly, so just make sure that they stay on. And this time I do have that band in the center, so I want to do that one next. And just keep working around. And then always when you're at this bottom part, make sure you're pushing back on that center band because you want these bands to be hooked around that center. And then that's again what it should look like. And then you're ready to start doing your perimeter bands or your border bands. So before I start to do the border bands, what I'm going to do is place another cap band just on this center pin. So I'm going to take a white band, put it on my hook and wrap it around a second time to double it, and then just place it right on the top here. And now what I want to do is take my hook and reach down through the center of all of these bands. I'm going to grab that top white band, pull it up through the middle, and then move it over to the left. And then what I'm going to do is just work my way up this entire side of the loom, doing that same thing, reaching down through the center, grabbing the bottom band, releasing it, and moving it to the pin above. Again, reach down through the center, grab that bottom band, and then put it right on the top of the pin above. I'm just going to keep repeating this same pattern, make sure it gets on the top. Go down through, grab the bottom, and put it on the top of the next pin. So I will fast forward through the rest of this. And then when you get to the top, you want to reach down inside, grab that very bottom band and pull it out through the center, and then just place it into the center row. And then you're going to go all the way back to the beginning again. And now we're going to do the other side. So again, you're going to reach down through the center, grab that bottom perimeter band and pull it out to the right. And now again, we're going to just work our way up this entire side of the loom. Use the back of your hook to push back on all of the bands till you can see that bottom band. Pull it up through the center and just place it on the pin above. And then just keep repeating that same pattern. And then once again, when you've reached the top, just reach down in through the middle, grab that bottom band, and then move it into the center. And now there's one more thing that you want to do before you take it off the loom. You're going to take your hook and reach down inside this top center pin, go down through all of these bands, and move your hook out to the side. Take this white band and just pull this through, and then get the both ends on your hook. And now you're ready to take it off the loom. So you just want to release all of these bands. And then here is what your bracelet will look like. And then what you want to do is take a clip. I have an S clip here, and you want to loop these two loose ends, hook them onto the one end of the clip, and then the other end should have a circle where we had one of the cap bands, and you can take that other end of the clip and just hook those bands through. And then here is your bracelet. This bracelet is a little bit smaller than some, so if you find that it's a little bit small, you can always just add a few extra bands onto the end here, link them through, and it would make your bracelet a little bit longer for you. And here is another bracelet that I made using the same pattern. This time I just used 3 different colors, and I used black for the border. So I have a third bracelet that I made using the same technique, but this one's a little bit different. I only used the length of 5 pins to make each of these ovals, whereas with this bracelet I used the length of 6 pins. So these are just a little bit shorter, and I was able to get one more oval out of the length of 2 looms. So these only have 4 ovals, where this bracelet actually has 5 ovals. So that is the open oval bracelet. I hope everybody likes it.